Welcome to Somerset Success Strategies. 2 weeks ago, I introduced the definition of success from legendary UCLA basketball coach John Wooden. Last week, I began training on an executive summary of his success system. And then today, I want to finish that training. I also wanted to provide you with his official website, which is simply coachwooden.com. So last week we covered the first 4 mission critical elements of his overall success system. Today we're going to cover the next 5 for a total of 9 that I wanted to provide in an executive summary format for you. So number 5 is mutual responsibility. And the point that Coach wants to make here is that you are responsible for properly planning and conducting your team practices. But the other side of the coin is that your team is responsible for applying what you teach them day to day. So in the corporate world, it's a little like some of the things we've had on our blog postings before that basically say you can't manage people, but you can coach and mentor and lead them. So your responsibility is to provide them with communication on what their mission critical focus needs to be. But then it's their responsibility to deliver. They need to manage themselves. It's this mutual responsibility and teamwork between you and your direct reports. The next element is what Coach refers to as industriousness. And industriousness has 2 components to it. The first component is hard work, and Coach is the first one to say, and I think all of us that have had any amount of success understand that there is no substitute for hard work. So that is an element of industriousness. But at the same time, worthwhile results come from hard work and careful planning. The point Coach tries to make is that undirected diligence is not very efficient, and therefore an element of planning must go into hard work. It's the combination of those 2 elements, hard work and careful planning, that create industriousness. So as an example, Coach would spend approximately 2 hours every day with he and his staff planning a practice. Now that practice might only last 2 hours. So he would spend as much time planning a practice as he would conducting a process. And he calculated each drill down to the minute. Every aspect of the session was choreographed for maximum efficiency, including something as minute as where the practice balls were to be placed. He believed that his strength as a teacher emerged from this planning and organization that he brought to bear. Now, by having these practices so carefully orchestrated, he was able to get more done in a shorter amount of time. Planning places effort where effort is needed most. Now, where that helps us in the corporate world, if we try to apply ourselves in the same way Coach Wooden did, is that it's essentially the equivalent of working smarter rather than working harder. We are going to have to work hard. There's no question about that. But if we work smart, we can get a lot done in a reasonable amount of time, and we don't have to suffer burnout and breakdown. And that was really one of Coach's keys to his success, is what he also referred to as fresh legs in the 4th quarter. His teams weren't worn out when the game was on the line because he practiced less than other coaches did. Because of this combination of careful planning along with the hard work, they didn't have to put as much time in practices, and his team was fresher. We need to be doing the same thing with our corporate athletes. Avoid burnout and breakdown. Next is skill development. Now, he defines skill as the knowledge of and then the ability to properly and quickly execute the fundamentals of your craft. So it's this proficiency in executing the fundamentals of your craft and then learning to do them quickly. And that's really what goes a long way to developing your success. Now, you remember 3 weeks ago when we talked about my 5 lessons from the Octagon, One of them was athletes that have the best skills win. Corporate athletes that have the best skills win. Skill development is incredibly important. And what Coach is pointing out here is that with careful practice and careful planning, you can create this muscle memory, this ability to not just know how to do something, but know how to do it quickly, know how to do it without even thinking about it. Tennis players, golfers, no matter what sport it is, things happen in split seconds. You don't have time to think about it. You have to just have the muscle memory of knowing, I've been here before, we've practiced for this, and your body and your mind know what to do. It's the same thing in the corporate world. I love the Nationwide commercials. Life comes at you fast. Life comes at us very fast in the corporate world. We have to be properly trained and just have this muscle memory of having these great fundamental skills and ability to do them quickly, just automatically, as just an automatic response mechanism. The next requirement in Coach's system that I wanted to go over is what he calls team spirit, or we might call teamwork. The point that he makes is that, or the definition that he provides for team spirit is that it is a genuine consideration for others. He says it's the attitude that I'll be happy to sacrifice my personal accomplishments for the good of the team. When every member of a team eagerly performs every task, the group rises to this new level of overall accomplishment together. He says it's the ultimate expression of interdependence, and it makes the entire group better. It's a combination, according to Coach, of respect and dignity for others, and that when we display this true consideration, most of our problems will be manageable. And certainly we're going to have conflict in our corporate teams. But if we truly have team spirit, I believe he's correct, most of our problems will in fact be manageable. Now, one of the things I added over here to Coach's definition is an illustration that I've always used, which is 1 + 1 = 11. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's the synergy and the exponential results that you get when you make yourself subservient to the team. You can't really accomplish your full greatness. It's just kind of an ironic twist until you are willing to submit your personal needs to that of the team. That's when together you can create these leveraged exponential results of taking 1 + 1 and getting 11 instead of 2. The last element of Coach's system is the most complicated because it's just an intangible that you either develop or you don't, and it's really the difference between being a household name or being someone who they can't remember your name. And he calls it competitive greatness. And he basically says we can do everything else in his system and still fall short of our ultimate achievement of success, of becoming all that we can become, if we lack this competitive greatness. And he defines it as being your best when your best is needed. It's the enjoyment of a difficult challenge. So the examples that come to mind are people like Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Lance Armstrong. These people were winners. They had this little intangible of competitive greatness. The most recent example of it is Michael Phelps, and it provides a great example because if you'll recall from the Olympics that just wrapped up, one of the gold medals that he won by the smallest time increment that they can measure. And I think it was 1/100th of a second. It was something like that. Now that's interesting in and of itself, but also interesting is he had a teammate, one of the women's swimmers, who lost her gold medal by the same exact amount of time. She got silver, and he got gold by the exact same amount of time. The difference is Michael Phelps is a household name, and I can't remember her name. She was a great competitor. She really represented our country well, but I can't remember her name. It's that little difference of competitive greatness. And that's really the last element of Coach's system that I wanted to share with you. We would love to hear from you what your success system is, and we look forward to that. Thank you.